Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Siti Zaharia from Group 9 Semester 2. Today I would like to present about Adenosine Triphosphate or ATP. So, what is ATP? ATP is an adenosine triphosphate or ATP is a high energy molecule that stores and transports energy within cells. Usually, ATP is produced in a mitochondria in a cell. So, ATP is a nucleotide with unstable phosphate bond that the cell hydrolyzes to gain energy. ATP is literally acts as an energy carrier in the cells. To empower cellular works, exergonic and endogenic reactions are involved by ATP. So, when ATP hydrolyzes, the energy is released. In a short conclusion, ATP is an energy that needs to be hydrolyzed before it released by the cell. So, we will continue with a structure of ATP. ATP or adenosine triphosphate consists of three components which are adenine. Adenine is a nitrogenous base. Next is pentose sugar, which in adenosine triphosphate we use ribose sugar. The next thing is phosphate, which is for the phosphate we have tri here, so we will have three phosphate. These three are linked by an high energy bond, but the last two phosphate are unstable phosphate bond. So we will continue with three mechanisms to produce ATP. The first one is substrate level phosphorylation. The second one is oxidative phosphorylation, and the third one is photophosphorylation. So the first one, we have substrate level phosphorylation, which this mechanism used to transferring high energy phosphate group from substrate directly to ADP. So in a chemical, basically we will have substrate and enzyme. So by substrate level phosphorylation, we will transfer high energy phosphate group from substrate directly to ADP. The next is oxidative phosphorylation. Oxidative phosphorylation is where energy is extracted from electron when the food is oxidized. In short, oxidative phosphorylation gain energy from food. The third one is photophosphorylation. In general, photo means light, so energy is extracted from electron after the light attained. After the light attained by the cell, so the energy is extracted from the light. So we will move on. How do we get energy from ATP? We all know that ATP is a form of energy. So how does we gain energy from ATP? First one, ATP is gained by breaking down the bonds between two last phosphate in ATP, or easy to call as hydrolysis. Remember that I just mentioned that the last two phosphate in the structure of ATP, it has unstable phosphate bond. so it will break down by hydrolysis. I will explain it later in a ATP cycle. So after the hydrolysis occur, so hydrolysis is addition of water to the cell. So after the hydrolysis occur, ADP or adenosine diphosphate and phosphate are formed. So ATP will be added with water, and it will produce ADP and phosphate, which means one phosphate from triphosphate become diphosphate. Phosphate is a form of energy, so the energy is released in this reaction, which lead to exergonic reaction. Exergonic means release of energy, and the antonym is endergonic, which absorb of energy. So 1 mole of ATP release 7.6 kcal of energy. So this is a general equation for energy ATP to form adenosine diphosphate and phosphate group. Eventually, for ATP cycle, the first thing we need is an ATP. ATP is one form of energy produced inside our body. Our body needs energy for a lot of things such as movement, chemical and mechanical work in our body. Basically, energy is released when one bond of last two phosphorus in ATP break down. So, the process starts here. When ATP react with water, the last two bond of phosphorus will break down and produce ADP plus phosphorus. This process is called hydrolysis because of the addition of water to ATP. In energy term, the energy is released when ATP plus water to produce ADP plus phosphorus. So this process is called as exergonic because the energy is released. The cycle here really happening when ADP plus phosphorus react to form ATP all over again. ADP plus phosphorus will undergoes ATP synthesis to become ATP again. This synthesis requires energy, so the energy is absorbed from the surrounding and lead to endergonic reaction. This is because the synthesis need energy to form ATP. These cycles is really important to ensure the continuous production of energy for our body. So I think that is all from me. Thank you.